If you love emotional Afro-Korean stories filled with shocking twists, dangerous secrets, and unforgettable characters, you're in the right place. Before we jump in, take a second to subscribe, like this video, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Now get comfortable, because today's story begins with one mistake that changed everything. The black SUV screeched to a halt. "Grab him! Don't let him run!" one masked man shouted. Nandi Dlamini had barely stepped out of the subway station after finishing an evening lecture at the university where she taught cryptography. She froze as four armed men rushed toward the sidewalk. Before she could even process what was happening, rough hands grabbed her shoulders. "Wait, you've got the wrong person," she screamed. One of the men covered her mouth. "Quiet, get him in the car." Another masked man frowned. "Boss said the target has short dreadlocks." "This one does." Nandi kicked wildly, landing a hard blow on someone's shin. "She kicked me, then tie." The sentence stopped halfway. "She?" The men exchanged confused looks for only a second. "Forget it. We already have her. Move." Within moments, the SUV disappeared into the Seoul night. Nearly 30 minutes later, another young black South African man stepped out of the same subway station while talking on his phone. "Sis, are you home already?" Silence. "Nandi?" The call went straight to voicemail. Nandi Dlamini frowned. "That's strange." He looked around the station, completely unaware that he had just missed the kidnapping by minutes. Nandi slowly opened her eyes. Her wrists were tied. Her head throbbed. She was sitting inside an elegant room unlike anything she had ever seen. Expensive Korean paintings decorated the walls. Marble floors reflected the chandelier above her. A deep voice broke the silence. "So..." She looked up. A tall Korean man stood near the window wearing a perfectly tailored black suit. His expression remained unreadable. "You finally woke up." Nandi glared at him. "Who are you?" He didn't answer. Instead, he walked closer. "My name is Kang Min-jae." "Wonderful," she snapped. "Now tell me why your people kidnapped me." His eyes narrowed slightly. "You aren't Sipho Dlamini." "No." "You know him? He's my younger brother." One of the guards cursed under his breath. Min-jae looked toward the guard. "You identified the wrong sibling." The room fell silent. The guard lowered his head. "It was dark, sir. You had one job. We're sorry." Nandi blinked. "So, this wasn't even about me?" Min-jae looked directly into her eyes. "No." Relief washed over her. "Then let me go." "I can't." "What?" "My father doesn't tolerate failure." Nandi stood despite the ropes around her wrists. "I don't care about your father. You kidnapped an innocent woman." Min-jae's jaw tightened. "I know." "Then fix your mistake." Before he could answer, the massive doors opened. An older Korean man entered with slow, confident steps. Every guard immediately bowed. "Chairman So." The older man's gaze settled on Nandi. "So this is the sister." Min-jae spoke carefully. "Father, the operation failed." Chairman So smiled. Chairman So smiled. "Did it?" "We captured the wrong person." "No." The old man looked directly at Nandi. "We captured someone valuable." Nandi frowned. "I have no idea what you're talking about." Chairman Seo slowly sat across from her. "Family is valuable. My brother has done nothing. We'll decide that. You've made a mistake." Chairman Seo laughed softly. "Everyone says that." He leaned closer. "If your brother wants you alive, he'll come." Nandi felt anger rising inside her. "My brother isn't stupid. We'll see." The chairman stood. Treat our guest well. Guest? Nandi almost laughed. This is kidnapping. The chairman didn't even look back. It's only kidnapping if you never leave. The doors shut behind him. Nandi stared at Min-jae. Your father is insane. He remained silent. You know he's wrong. Another silence. Finally he spoke. I don't make the rules. That's your excuse? It's reality. She shook her head. No, reality is choosing between what's easy and what's right. Those words lingered in the room longer than either expected. Hours later, a maid placed dinner on the table. Nandi ignored it. I'm not eating. You should, the maid whispered. I'm not your prisoner. The older woman looked genuinely sad. You are. After she left, Min-jae entered. You haven't touched the food. I'm on strike. That won't change anything. It'll make me feel better. He almost smiled before catching himself. She noticed. So you do know how. What? Smile. I don't. You almost did. I didn't. Nandi sighed dramatically. This place is exhausting. He turned to leave. Wait. He stopped. What exactly did you think my brother stole? Min-jae hesitated. I can't tell you. So you don't even know? I know enough. No. She looked directly at him. You only know what someone else told you. For the first time, Min-jae looked uncertain. Meanwhile, across Seoul, Sipho sat in front of 3 computer monitors. His fingers flew across the keyboard. Come on. Security camera after security camera appeared on the screen. Traffic feeds, street cameras, private surveillance systems. Then, there, a blurry image. A black SUV. Partial license plate. Sipho zoomed in. Got you. His phone rang. It was Detective Han. You found something? I think they took my sister. Who? I don't know yet. Don't do anything reckless. I'm already doing something reckless. He ended the call. No one takes my sister. The following morning, Chairman Seo summoned Nandi to a private study. The room contained shelves filled with ancient books and historical documents. In the center sat a weathered leather notebook. Chairman Seo slid it toward her. Tell me what this means. Nandi glanced at the page. Her breathing stopped. The symbols, they weren't random. She had seen them before, years ago. Inside her late father's notebook, she slowly looked up. Where did you get this? The chairman smiled without answering. At that exact moment, Nandi realized her kidnapping had nothing to do with Sipho anymore. Somehow, it had everything to do with their father, and whatever secret he had taken to his grave. Nandi forced herself to keep her face calm, even though her heart pounded against her ribs. Chairman Seo noticed the brief hesitation. You've seen those symbols before. She slowly closed the notebook. They're old mathematical ciphers. His eyes narrowed. So you can read them. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Min-jae stood silently beside the chairman, watching every expression that crossed Nandi's face. Chairman Seo leaned back in his chair. Your father studied these codes. Nandi's fingers tightened around the notebook. My father was a history professor. He was much more than that. No, he wasn't. The chairman chuckled. You children only knew the man he wanted you to know. Nandi felt a lump form in her throat. Her father had died believing his work had been forgotten. Every weekend, he would spread old journals across the dining table while she sat beside him solving puzzles. He used to smile and say, Every code tells the truth. The trick is convincing it to speak." She had laughed then. Now those words echoed differently. Chairman Seo tapped the notebook. "Translate it." "I can't." "You won't." "I said I can't." His smile disappeared. "Do not insult my intelligence." Nandi met his gaze. "And don't mistake curiosity for cooperation." The room fell silent. Chairman Seo suddenly stood. "I admire courage." He walked around her slowly. But courage without wisdom usually ends badly. He nodded toward one of the guards. The guard placed a tablet on the desk. Chairman Seo pressed play. A live security feed appeared. Sipho. He was walking toward his apartment building, unaware that two black vehicles were parked across the street. Nandi's face lost all color. "What is this?" A reminder. She jumped to her feet. "Stay away from my brother. Then help me. You said this was about him." "It was. And now? Now it's about both of you." She swallowed hard. "If I help you, he lives. If I refuse..." Chairman Seo looked at the screen. "I'll send someone less patient than my son." Nandi turned toward Min-jae. "You'd let him do this?" His voice was quiet. "You should cooperate." She stared at him in disbelief. I expected that answer. She looked back at the chairman. "I'll need time. You have until tomorrow morning." The chairman left without another word. As the door closed, Nandi slammed the notebook onto the table. "You people are monsters." Min-jae didn't react. "You think threatening innocent people makes you powerful? It gets results." "No." She shook her head. "It creates enemies." He folded his arms. "You're very brave." "I'm very angry." "Those aren't the same thing." "They are today." For several seconds neither spoke. Finally Min-jae picked up the notebook. "What do the symbols mean?" She hesitated. "They're layered." "What does that mean?" "You don't solve them directly." He frowned. "Explain." "They're designed to trick impatient people." His curiosity showed for the first time. "So, there are multiple answers?" "There are multiple wrong answers." She pointed at one symbol. "If someone starts here, they'll spend years decoding nonsense." "And the correct starting point?" She smiled faintly. "That's the secret." Min-jae stared at her. "You really can solve it." "I never said that." "You didn't deny it." She looked away. "My father taught me never to reveal everything." Across the city, Sipho sat inside Detective Han's office. Maps covered the walls. Several officers watched surveillance footage. Han sighed. "These people are professionals." "I know. We've tracked the SUV, and..." It disappeared. Sipho clenched his fists. "There has to be something." "There is." The detective handed him a photograph. "This man..." Sipho studied it. "Kang Min-jae. Who is he?" "We've suspected his family for years." "The Mafia?" Han nodded. "But we've never had enough evidence." Sipho looked at the picture again. "So my sister is with him." "Most likely. I'm getting her back." Han grabbed his arm. "You'll get yourself killed. I won't sit here." "You need a plan." Sipho took a deep breath. "I already have one." That evening Nandi sat alone inside the library. The notebook lay open before her. She traced one of the symbols with her finger. Then she noticed something. Tiny scratches. Not part of the original design. Someone had marked the page decades earlier. She leaned closer. No way. The scratches formed coordinates. Very small, almost invisible. She quickly memorized them as footsteps approached. She shut the notebook just as Min-jae entered. You've been staring at the same page for hours. I was thinking. What did you discover? Nothing. He walked closer. I know you're lying, and I know you're watching me. He pulled out a chair and sat opposite her. You confuse me. She laughed softly. I get that a lot. You should hate me. I do, but you still talk to me. I also talk to rude taxi drivers. For the first time, Min-jae actually smiled. It disappeared almost immediately. Nandi caught it anyway. There it is again. What? The smile. I don't smile. You just did. I didn't. You really need better lies. Before he could answer, the library doors burst open. A guard stumbled inside, bleeding from his forehead. Sir! Min-jae stood instantly. What happened? The Western security cameras? What about them? They've all gone offline. Another guard rushed in. Someone breached the outer fence. Chairman Seo's voice echoed from the hallway. Find the intruder! Min-jae reached for the pistol beneath his jacket. Nandi's heart raced. Could it be? A loud explosion shook the mansion. The lights flickered. Alarms screamed through every corridor. Guards began running in every direction. Chairman Seo barked orders. Seal every exit. Min-jae looked toward Nandi. Stay here. She crossed her arms. I wasn't planning on joining your security team. He ignored the remark and rushed out. Seconds later, another explosion echoed even closer. Smoke drifted beneath the library door. Nandi carefully walked toward the window. Far below, several guards chased a single figure dressed entirely in black. The intruder moved with incredible speed, disappearing into the shadows before reappearing on another rooftop. One guard shouted, "Don't let him escape!" Then the masked figure briefly turned his head toward the library window. Nandi couldn't see his face, but she recognized the movement, the way he favored his left shoulder after an old soccer injury. Her eyes filled with tears. Sipho. At that same moment, the masked intruder looked up, locking eyes with his sister from across the courtyard. Neither of them could speak. Neither of them could move. Then dozens of armed guards flooded between them. And Sipho vanished back into the darkness before anyone could reach him. The alarms continued to blare as armed guards rushed through every hallway. Nandi stood frozen by the library window, her pulse racing. Sipho, she whispered. He was alive. He had found her. But he had also walked straight into the lion's den. The library door flew open. Min-jae entered, breathing heavily. Did anyone come in here? Nandi quickly stepped away from the window. No. He studied her face. You're lying, and you're asking the wrong question. He frowned. What should I be asking? You should be asking why your fortress isn't as secure as you thought. Before he could reply, another guard rushed in. Sir, the intruder escaped. Chairman Seo stormed into the hallway moments later. Search every inch of this property. Yes, Chairman. The old man's eyes landed on Nandi. You look unusually hopeful. She forced a smile. Should I apologize for having emotions? He walked closer. The intruder wasn't here for our documents. No? He came for you. Nandi remained silent. Chairman Seo chuckled. Good. That means your brother loves you exactly as much as I expected. He turned toward Min-jae. Increase her security. No one enters this room without your approval. As you wish. The chairman left. Nandi stared at Min-jae. One day he'll run out of people to threaten. Min-jae sighed. You still don't understand him. No. She looked directly into his eyes. I understand him perfectly. That's why I know people like him always fall. The following morning, Nandi reopened the coded notebook. This time Min-jae sat across from her. Neither spoke for several minutes. Finally, he broke the silence. What are you looking for? My father. He looked confused. He's gone. I know. She pointed at the symbols. But he left fingerprints. You mean clues? Exactly. She slowly flipped another page, then another. Suddenly, she stopped. There. Min-jae leaned forward. What is it? My father changed the pattern. You can tell? He always hid messages inside mistakes. She grabbed a blank sheet of paper and began writing numbers. 3 columns, then 4, then a series of Korean characters. Min-jae watched in amazement. You're not translating? I'm rebuilding the algorithm. He blinked. The what? The notebook isn't a code. It isn't? It's a key. His expression hardened. A key to what? I don't know yet. She continued writing. The numbers slowly formed a grid, then a second page. Finally, she circled one sequence. There. What does it say? She swallowed. It isn't pointing to money. Min-jae looked surprised. My father believed the mafia was protecting treasure. He was wrong. What is it then? She looked at him. It's pointing to names. What names? I don't know, but whoever created this wanted those names hidden forever. At that moment, Chairman Sipho entered without knocking. What have you discovered? Nandi hesitated. Min-jae noticed. He quietly stepped beside her. She's still working. Chairman Sipho ignored him. I asked her. Nandi slowly lifted the paper. The code isn't about wealth. His face changed instantly. Explain. It hides identities. He stepped closer. Whose? I haven't reached that part. The chairman stared at her for several seconds. Then he smiled. I knew choosing your family was the right decision. Nandi's stomach tightened. What do you mean? Chairman Sipho looked toward Min-jae. Bring him in. Min-jae frowned. Father, I said bring him in. 2 guards dragged someone into the room. His face was bruised. His wrists were tied. Nandi gasped. Sipho. Her younger brother looked exhausted, but the moment he saw her, he smiled. I told you I'd find you. Tears rolled down Nandi's cheeks. You idiot. I learned from my big sister. She laughed through her tears. Chairman Sipho clapped slowly. What a touching reunion. Nandi stepped forward. Let him go. Finish the code. I'll finish nothing while he's a prisoner. The chairman nodded toward one of the guards. The guard struck Sipho hard across the stomach. No, Nandi cried. Sipho fell to one knee, coughing. I'm okay, he managed. Stop. Chairman Sipho looked at her calmly. The next strike depends on your answer. Nandi's voice shook. I'll help. Sipho looked up immediately. No! She ignored him. I'll finish the code. Sipho shook his head. Nandi, don't! She looked at her brother with tears in her eyes. I can't lose you too. The room became painfully quiet. Min-jae watched the siblings. Something inside him shifted. He remembered being a boy, standing beside his own younger brother years ago. His father had forced them to compete for everything. Only one survived. The memory hit him like a knife. Chairman Sipho noticed his hesitation. Min-jae, yes, father. Take them back. That evening, Min-jae secretly entered the room where Nandi and Sipho were being held together. Sipho immediately stood. "If you're here to threaten us again, save your breath." "I'm not." Nandi looked surprised. "Then why are you here?" Min-jae quietly placed a small first aid kit on the table. "For his injuries." Sipho laughed bitterly. "Your father beats me, and you bring bandages. It's all I can do." "No." Nandi shook her head. "It isn't." He looked at her. "You have choices. My choices have consequences. So do your excuses." Silence filled the room. Finally, Min-jae spoke. "My father believes the code leads to a list of people who built this organization." Nandi nodded. "He isn't completely wrong. You know something. I know enough." "What aren't you telling him?" She hesitated before answering. "My father once told me that some secrets should never belong to powerful men." Min-jae stared at her. "And now? I finally understand why." Before anyone could say another word, Sipho quietly reached into the lining of his torn jacket. He pulled out something no larger than a coin. Nandi's eyes widened. "You actually brought it?" Sipho grinned despite his injuries. "I hid it before they searched me." Min-jae looked confused. "What is that? A tracker?" he guessed. Sipho smiled. "Better." He pressed the tiny device. A faint blue light blinked once, then twice, then 3 times. Far outside the mansion, hidden deep inside the surrounding forest, Detective Han's phone vibrated. He looked at the flashing signal on his screen. "They're inside." He grabbed his radio. "Move in." Dozens of tactical officers quietly advanced toward the estate under the cover of darkness. Inside the mansion, none of the guards had noticed. Not yet. But within minutes, the biggest war Chairman Seo had ever faced was about to begin. A deafening blast shattered the silence. The front security gate exploded inward. Red warning lights flooded every corridor as alarms screamed throughout the mansion. One guard shouted, "We're under attack." Another ran toward Chairman Seo's office. "Chairman, the police have breached the outer perimeter." Chairman Seo calmly stood from his desk. "So, they finally found us." He looked toward Min-jae. "You betrayed me." Min-jae didn't flinch. "I never contacted the police." "No?" The chairman smiled coldly. "Then someone close to our guests did." Before anyone could speak again, gunfire echoed outside. Detective Han's voice boomed through loudspeakers. "This is the Seoul Metropolitan Police. Lay down your weapons and surrender immediately." Chaos erupted. Guards sprinted in every direction. Some rushed to defend the compound while others abandoned their posts entirely. Inside the holding room, Sipho heard the commotion and looked at Nandi. "It's starting." She nodded. "But we're not safe yet." The electronic lock suddenly clicked open. The door swung inward. Min-jae stood there. "You have to come now." Sipho stepped in front of his sister. "Why should we trust you?" "You shouldn't." He looked directly at Nandi. "But if you stay here, my father will kill all of us." Nandi searched his face. For the first time since her kidnapping, she saw no hesitation. Only determination. She grabbed Sipho's hand. "We're going." The three hurried through the smoke-filled hallway. Explosions shook the mansion as tactical officers fought their way inside. Halfway down the corridor, Chairman Seo appeared with 6 armed guards blocking the exit. "I expected disappointment," he said quietly. "I never imagined it would come from my own son." Min-jae stepped forward. "It's over, father." "No." The chairman drew a pistol. It ends when I decide. The guards raised their weapons. Min-jae slowly spread his arms, shielding Nandi and Sipho. Leave them out of this. Chairman Seo laughed. You've fallen in love with your prisoner. Nandi's eyes widened. Min-jae remained silent. The chairman shook his head. How predictable. He pointed the gun at Nandi. Finish the code. She stared back at him. I already did. His eyes narrowed. Where is it? She smiled through the fear. The question isn't where. It's who. Chairman Seo frowned. What are you talking about? Nandi slowly reached into her pocket. During the confusion, she had hidden the final page she translated. She unfolded it carefully. There never was any treasure. Liar. There never was any hidden fortune. You expect me to believe that? She looked him straight in the eyes. The code is a ledger. His expression froze. A complete record of every politician, judge, businessman, and crime boss who secretly funded your organization for over 40 years. The room fell silent. Even the guards looked shocked. Chairman Seo whispered, Impossible. My father discovered the truth years ago. Then why didn't he expose it? Because he knew your people would kill everyone connected to him. She held up the final page. He spent years changing the code so no one could read it. Chairman Seo's voice trembled with rage. And you solved it. Yes. So give it to me. Nandi slowly shook her head. I can't. You won't. I already sent it. His face turned pale. What? Sipho smiled. While everyone was chasing me around your mansion, I wasn't trying to rescue my sister. The chairman looked confused. I was installing a relay inside your private network. Nandi continued. The moment I finished decoding the ledger, Sipho pulled a small remote from his pocket and pressed the button. Every file was uploaded. Chairman Seo stared in disbelief. No. Detective Han's voice suddenly echoed through the mansion. Chairman Seo, every escape route is surrounded. At the same moment, dozens of mobile phones belonging to the guards vibrated. News alerts flashed across every screen. Confidential mafia ledger leaked. High-ranking officials under investigation. International arrest warrants expected. One guard slowly lowered his weapon. Another stepped away from the chairman. Within seconds, complete panic spread through the room. You destroyed everything, Chairman Seo whispered. Nandi answered calmly. No, you did. I exposed what should never have been hidden. The chairman's face twisted with fury. If my empire falls, he raised his pistol toward Nandi. You fall with it. Before anyone could react, Min-jae shoved Nandi aside. The gun fired. Min-jae staggered backward. Blood spread across his white shirt. Min-jae, Nandi screamed. Sipho caught him before he hit the floor. Police officers burst into the hallway. Drop your weapon. Chairman Seo looked around. His empire, his guards, his secrets. Everything was gone. With nowhere left to run, he slowly let the pistol fall to the floor. Detective Han stepped forward and placed him under arrest. As officers led the chairman away, he turned toward Min-jae. You chose strangers over your own blood. Min-jae struggled to breathe. No. He looked directly at his father. I chose humanity. The chairman lowered his head for the first time in his life. Without another word, he disappeared down the hallway in handcuffs. Moments later, paramedics rushed inside. They carefully lifted Min-jae onto a stretcher. Nandi held his hand tightly. Stay with me. He managed a weak smile. I finally smiled properly. She laughed through her tears. You picked a terrible time. I know. You don't get to leave after all this. I'll try not to. Months passed. The leaked ledger led to arrests across several countries. Corrupt officials resigned. Hidden criminal networks collapsed. News channels called it one of the biggest organized crime investigations in modern history. Sipho accepted a position leading an international cybersecurity task force dedicated to dismantling criminal networks. Nandi returned to teaching cryptography, but her classroom was always full. Her students admired not only her brilliance, but also her courage. She often repeated the lesson her father had taught her years earlier. Every code tells the truth. You only need the courage to listen. One sunny afternoon, she stepped outside the university carrying a stack of books. A familiar voice called her name. Nandi. She turned. Min-jae stood across the street. The scar on his shoulder had healed, and for the first time she saw him wearing simple clothes instead of an expensive black suit. No security? She asked. He smiled. I retired. You make retirement sound dramatic. My previous job was... She laughed. What brings you here? He held up a small notebook. I found this while rebuilding my family's estate. She opened it carefully. Inside was a handwritten note from her father. If you're reading this, it means the code finally served its true purpose. Never protect secrets that destroy innocent lives. Protect people instead. Tears filled Nandi's eyes. My father won. Min-jae nodded. So did you. They stood quietly as the evening breeze turned another page of the notebook. The code that had once been worth killing for had become a symbol of justice instead. Sometimes the greatest victory wasn't finding hidden treasure. Sometimes it was making sure the truth could never be buried again. And all of it happened because a ruthless mafia made one fatal mistake. They took the wrong sibling. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who loves emotional Afro-Korean stories filled with shocking twists. Tell us in the comments, if you were in Nandi's position, would you have risked everything to expose the truth? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next unforgettable story.